In question number 5, we're going to use this method from the previous video to see if we can come up with a multiplier without having to actually do a whole lot of extra work. The multiplier is going to be a decimal for each question, so expect that in each of these answers you'll see a decimal value. The word increase or the word decrease is really important because in the previous example, when I talked about this method, I tried, if possible, to account for both possible situations. Increase would be if you're adding to your total, and decrease would be if you're subtracting from your total. So I'm going to think of letter A as adding because the word increase, but letter B as subtracting because that's the word decrease. So let's think logically. In letter A, if I have an increase of 40%, that means I'm starting with 100% of whatever I began with. So like, for example, 100% of a jackpot plus an extra 40% more. So if we think about that, 100% plus 40% is 140%. That number is one step away from being my multiplier. The thing is, the multiplier is going to be a decimal. And I'll make that little note to myself here. You might even want to make that note colorful so that way you can remind yourself the multiplier is going to be a decimal. So to convert 140% to a decimal, simply take its decimal, which is currently at the end of the number, and move 2 places to the left. If I move the decimal point 2 places to the left, that gives me 1.40, and that is what we'll call our multiplier, 1.40, because it comes from 100% plus 40%, that's 140%, and we just move the decimal 2 places to the left. So let's try another one. Let's try letter B, a decrease of 36%. That means we start with 100% of whatever jackpot we began with, but we subtract 36%. So this one's decreasing, thus subtracting. If I do 100 minus 36, that leaves us with 64%. That's a percentage, but I want to write it as a decimal multiplier. So I'm going to take the current decimal point, which is at the end of the number, 64, and move it 2 places to the left. That puts my new decimal point in front, and we'll call that 0.64. Some people write 0.64. Some people don't write the 0. It's up to you. If you want to put a 0 there just for a placeholder, you definitely can. We'll do one more just to make sure you got the idea. A decrease of 5%. Again, think to yourself, is that plus or minus? Decrease would be subtracting because things get smaller, so minus. I'll take 100% of what I start with minus 5%. And then I'll do that subtraction. 100% minus 5% would be 95%. Again, I want to convert that to a decimal. So the current decimal point for 95 is at the end of the number. And if I move 2 places to the left, that puts my decimal point now in front. So I have 0.95. Again, if you feel more comfortable, you can call it 0.95 or just 0.95. It's the same thing. Now that you've seen how to do this, try letters D, E, and F. It's kind of the same idea, and you're just going to practice writing those decimals for the multiplier. If you're not sure why you would need to be able to do that, I think once you get to the video for number 6, it'll make more sense. So practice a little bit here, just getting a multiplier, and then in question number 6, we'll talk about why you'd even want to.